Well, here we are, folks, just out in these beautiful woods, thinking about what it was like back in the day, back in colonial times. Might not have looked much different. Actually, if you see a lot of pictures from the 1800s, a lot of these areas were completely denuded of trees. And now that I'm looking at the trees, none of these trees look very old. So there's a good chance that this was just more of a hilly landscape with kind of some valleys. But as you can see, it's really some beautiful scenery. And just out here, just me, my metal detector, my shovel, my mind. And we actually have the silver bandit lurking somewhere out there, waiting to find his next treasure. But if you don't find anything, at least you had a wonderful day and you got some fresh air. For me, it's really just beautiful to think about. You find this connection to history out here, and you can look back and try to imagine what it was like, and probably wasn't that much different because there's no development here. It's just some trees, some birds somewhere out here, lots of wildlife. Love it. Okay, now here we are. We're still in the woods. If you come upon a thing like this, that's from an old campfire. So I always detect around those, and in this particular case, I was lucky enough to find a quarter. It was a modern clad, so that wasn't very exciting. But you never know. This could be 10 years old. It could be a lot older. Earlier today, at another one of these little campsites, I was lucky enough to find this, and you can see that's a Merc. That's my first silver of the year. I was pretty excited about that. I believe it's a 1923. I'll clean it up more when I get home. But yeah, it's always neat when you see these stones, to think that they've been virtually untouched and maybe used by multiple people camping, hunting over the years. But things can stay intact in the woods for a long time when there's not much going on besides leaves falling and the season's changing. But yeah, it's always neat to come upon these. It's a little artifact of some time that someone spent here. Hi folks, here we are in some colonial woods in Massachusetts, and it's kind of a bitter, windy, cold day, January. I am so stoked. It is a great find that I have just made. What we have here is a complete, well, I'll just show you. What we have here is a complete colonial shoe buckle, and that's a tongue-and-shape buckle. It is absolutely 1700s all day. I'm gonna try to examine it more closely when I get home and see if I can get a better date on that. Now, I said it was complete. It's missing this portion of the buckle. That's still an excellent find. I'm not really sad about that. I'm gonna keep looking for the other part and see if I can find it. There's a good chance it's here in the hole. That made my day. It made my week, my month. I am really stoked. Excellent. Okay, so here I am at home with the buckle that I found, and just doing some cleanup. And you can see that I'm just using a wooden, like a little bamboo wooden skewer type thing, or a toothpick would work fine. But you can see that the centuries of dirt just kind of flake right off. It's really nice to see the nice green patina beneath this. But yeah, just wanted to give a window into best way to clean these up. You know, some people would throw this in a rock tumbler, or you know, definitely not necessary to do that. These things are pretty delicate. You don't want to break this great thing that you saved. Speaking of breaks, we got this. You can see that it's an old break. I'm happy to announce that I was not the one who did that. And I looked in the hole repeatedly and I couldn't find the other piece, so that might have been the reason why it was originally discarded. But again, I'm very happy with this find. I'll show another image of it when it's cleaned up, and if I have any more info that I can add on it. I love to talk about these things because they're truly a special thing to find in my book. That's what we call a New England day maker, week maker, maybe even month maker. Okay, so once you have all of the dirt cleaned off of the buckle, what I'm going to do for the next step is I'm going to take this product that is called Renaissance wax, and this is stuff that they use. I believe it was specially formulated for the British Museum. Here we'll read the info on the back. It's used for restoration to protect furniture, leather, paintings, metals, marble, ivory, and many other surfaces. You know, you can use this stuff on coins. You can use it on metal. You know, what it does is it kind of creates a barrier between the object and the outside world. And, you know, you have to imagine that if one of these items has been sitting in the ground for like a couple hundred years, you're going to want to protect it. The things do deteriorate after they come out of the ground. In some cases, that's kind of like a stable environment for them, but once they come into the oxygen, they immediately start to go downhill. You know, in the case of this buckle, this thing's pretty solid. You know, another thing about the wax is that it gives the object kind of like a nice look to it. It can kind of like restore it to somewhat of an original look. So, you know, I just get some on a Q-tip and just kind of go like that, and you know, you just rub it. Stuff dries pretty fast. But you know, I prefer how this looks. I like how it gives it kind of like this new shine that, you know, if I had just left it the way it is, it's kind of this like dull, dusty look to it. And, you know, this just kind of protects it a little bit. I live in Boston, so you got to imagine that we got this, you know, the salt air can kind of attack stuff. But yeah, just kind of rub this stuff on there on all surfaces, and once it's dry, you just get something like a sock, you know, something like, you know, just an old sock, and just kind of rub it to get any of the excess stuff off there. And what I'll do is I'll show you a couple of my other buckles that I've done this to. And yeah, so I'll show you the finished product later. Okay, so here we are with the cleaned up shoe buckle. The wax has been cleaned off of it, and you can see that it's kind of brought out the color and given it a nice kind of shine. And I like to handle my finds after I've found them and cleaned them up. And the way it was before, it was just kind of probably going to be perpetually a little bit dusty and dirty and always flaking. So this kind of cleans it up, locks it all together, protects it from the elements, keeps it from deteriorating or oxidizing or anything from the environment. Now this is a tongue and shape buckle. This right here is the tongue. This part right here is the shape. And if you look at it here, this is known as a kettle shape. You can see how it looks a little bit like the profile of a kettle. It's got these prongs. The prongs can help date it to between 1720 and 1790. So it's kind of nice to know a date range. You can kind of imagine what was going on around that time. It's a pretty big date range. So I mean, this person could have walked the streets of Boston during the American Revolution. We really don't know where they went with this shoe, but it's neat to think about. Okay, just to wrap up the finds, we got the spoon. This is holding on by a thread. This is, I'm gonna say this is like solid 1800s. It's got that uneven wear, which my belief is that that's from stirring, like an iron kettle, stirring the food. We got the 1700s shoe buckle that I've talked about a lot. I don't know what else I need to say about that, but I like it a lot. We have this thing, that's like a part of a garter, or that's maybe a suspender clip. We got this. It's a cuff link, and that is some glass work in there. I'm saying that this is Art Deco. Without really being able to define Art Deco, I think that's what it is. Next we have the 1923 Mercury dime. Really psyched on that. That was my first silver of the year. And finally the shoe buckle that I've already talked about too much, but I love it. All right, well, thank you very much for joining me on this adventure, and I hope to see you in the next video.